And I think we're all looking for things that we can trust and rely on. So, just the whole concepts of honesty and integrity, for me, and I think for a lot of our customers, that's a huge piece of why people come in and do business with us. And I think that can play out for any business. I just think those are hallmarks in life that sometimes get pushed to the side, and shouldn't be. And so I think that they have, served us well for 100 years. So I think that if there's one word that would kind of sum up, I think our bank in particular is just trust. It takes a lot of trust on the part of people to put their money in your institution, and do that for 100 years, and be willing to do that with confidence. So 35 citizens pooled $25,000 just ahead of July of 20, and capitalized the bank and became the bank's first shareholders. And so in July of 1920, our bank was given charter number 11798, and our bank has held that same number for 100 years. It's never changed. In 1930, of course, the Great Depression hit, and the stock market hit, and had a tremendous impact on our country. And actually, over 9,000 banks closed as a result of the Great Depression. Prior to that, in 1929, because again of the stimulus of wanting to kind of get our country going after the war, there were 35,000 banks in existence, which is actually an all-time high for our country. I would just comment over, if you go back from 1985 to 2013, that time frame, so the 80s, 90s, and the 2000s, 68% of all community banks either failed or were merged during that time frame. And for those of you that are in Kansas, if you go back to the year 2000, the state had over 400 banks, and today there's 275 banks. I mentioned back in 1929 there were 35,000 banks. Today there are less than 5,000 banks and savings and loans in existence in our country. Mobile banking, just to give you a perspective, mobile banking doubled it from 2017 to 2019 across our country, not just our bank, but across the country. It's now the number one point of access for banking, for financial access. And so if you don't have a mobile presence, you are probably not going to be in business. We have tried to carve out a balance between being high tech and high touch. And we talk about that a lot. We know we have to be viable from a technical standpoint, but we also know that we have to be, again, accessible and easy to get a hold of. And if there's a problem, somebody needs a loan and it needs to be done quickly, we can respond to that. We don't have to run a loan request, for instance, to a home office in New York. They run it into my office here in Louisburg. So we can move very, very quickly. Another area that I think has allowed us to be successful is accessibility, and the longevity of our staff. So case in point with that, Anna Sprague is our senior vice president. We have 26 staff. Anna is the only senior vice president in our bank. She's been with us for 16 years. If you call our bank, you don't get an answering machine. You get Anna Sprague 9 out of 10 times. Banking is so much dollars and cents, facts and figures, but it's really a whole lot more in the relationship and knowing people. I'm so grateful that I live here, raised my family here, I work here. I just think it's a great place to be because I think of the quality of the people. For us to have 450 loans, to not have one loan go bad or 2 loans in the last 5 years, says a ton about the honesty and integrity and the work ethic and the responsibility that people have in this area. And so if you were going to have a bank, where else would you want to be? What makes a business last for 100 years? And there's so many things. I mean, I don't know if there's one thing, and there's probably a million things. And we all have needs from a human standpoint. And so this marriage between, you know, being with somebody, talking with somebody, experiencing somebody, and then living in this digital world, and you blend that into banking, that's really the art of the deal. And so it's why we have decided to stay very close in our area. We're not going to Nebraska, and we're not going to Manhattan, Kansas. We're in Louisburg, we're in Stillwell, and we're in Prairie Village. And we want to be as good as we can be in those three areas.